Hello YouTube. Right, this is a video for several friends of mine and whoever is interested about Massive Darkness, how I did and am still doing the bases for Massive Darkness. So I had a couple of options. Basically I could cut the miniatures off the bases and rebase them, use the Green Stuff World rolling pins and stuff like that, which I've done before, but several reasons I didn't do that. One is because I don't have any spare bases and I don't want to wait around, buy some more bases and spend a lot more money on bases, yeah. And also there are so many miniatures that it really didn't become an option. Also, cutting miniatures off bases, you know, they're quite well attached. Some of them quite a lot of surface area on the bases. Some of them are also quite spindly. I didn't want to cut all these miniatures off the bases because I know one or two of them at least would be busted or ruined. Another reason is because if I do cut them off the bases and then reattach them to another base, they're not going to be as strong as they are with being a one-piece mini. I could pin them, but you know, I've got like 200-300 miniatures to pin. No, just no. So anyway, what am I going to do? I'll tell you what. I green stuff or Tamiya white stuff around the feet of the miniature and just stick onto the wet dry green stuff. I stick on bits. Yeah, I got bits. These are a selection of bits I took out from my bits box, and I just select the appropriate ones and stick them on. Right, so this is what it should look like when you're done. I will show you a painted one in a minute, but how do I do that? Basically what you need is obviously green stuff or white stuff. This is Tamiya, it's cheap, very cheap. Water, yeah, so water, put some water in my palette. There you are. I wet my fingers. This is pre-mixed green stuff, white stuff, pre-mixed. So I keep it in the water so it doesn't like stick to anything or whatever. And this is a toothpick, a common or garden toothpick, nothing special about that. Make sure it's wet. Right, so what do? I pull off a little bit of green stuff. I'm going to use the word green stuff because everyone knows what that is. Squash it onto the base. Yeah, squash it onto the base like so. Squash it onto the base like so. Doesn't have to cover the base at all. Right, use the toothpick. Roll it backwards and forwards like a rolling pin, like a very, very small rolling pin on the green stuff. Make sure it goes up and overlaps the edges of the base. It's very easy to do because it spreads out quite a lot. Make sure it's quite thin. You don't need it thick at all. You want the miniature to look like it's standing on the stone, not sinking into it. It doesn't have to. You don't have to make it smooth either. If it's got like loads of ridges in it and stuff, that's fine. It looks like roughly hewn stone, which is the effect I'm going for anyway. Right, so I've pretty much done like half that base. Repeat as necessary until the whole thing's covered. Yeah. So take a little bit of green stuff. I'll go around the back this time. Stick that on there. Again. That's it. Make sure the toothpick is wet. Roll backwards and forwards. like a rolling pin. Yeah, that's right, that's right. Totally awesome. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't take very long, especially with the smallest minis like these. Certainly not as long as cutting them off, getting new bases, rolling pin, green stuff, and then pinning all these miniatures to bases. No, ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen. And to be honest, after these are painted, they look pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. What I like to do as well, if I've got any, you always end up with a little bit of green stuff left. I make mushrooms, and I add that to the base. Some mushrooms growing out the cracks of the flagstones, roughly hewn flagstones, and it looks pretty good. And despite what my friend says, scientifically accurate. Yeah. Alright. So, still not done. I said it doesn't take very long. It doesn't take very long compared to any other method. And when you get to the edge, anyway, changing the subject, when you get to the edge, you want to use the toothpick to slice off the excess around the edge. You don't want it overlapping and looking crap. You still want a circular base. Yeah, that's it. Slice off the edge and just put the excess green stuff back into the water. Slice off the edge, slice off the edge, slice off the edge. You see I missed a bit there, that's fine. I will remedy that in just a moment. That's it, slice off the edge, slice off the edge, slice off the edge. Okay, bim bam bim bam bim bam boo. Then, yeah, just do that little bit I missed. Take a very, very tiny bit of green stuff, stick it on the end of my toothpick, smoosh it into the gap, smoosh it around the side. That's it, rolling pin it so it's uniform with the rest of the base, and then slice off the excess. Right, okay, what happens next is entirely up to you. Like I said, I've got this I don't know if you can see that flagstone stuff going on. It adds a bit more detail to the miniatures, and if you do the same thing on all of them, it looks good. So just draw a line with your toothpick across. Doesn't have to be straight. Relatively straight, yeah. Relatively straight. So let's make sure you can see that. Doesn't have to be like ruler straight though. You know what I mean? But it can be a little bit wavy because it's roughly hewn. So anyway, then do the flagstone bits. Make sure they're relatively the same on all the bases. Doesn't have to be exactly the same. On my larger miniatures, the flagstones are a little bit bigger, but it's not noticeable. So can you see that? Make sure you can see that. Whoop-de-doo. There we go. Drag that across and do the same again here. So yeah, there you have it. Okay, last thing you want to do, piece de resistance. So I see here I've got some skulls which I bought, so I might stick one of these on there. It's easy, isn't it? It's easy. Make sure it's not a sci-fi skull. There it is. Skull. Make sure you don't cut yourself as well using the craft knife. Make sure there's an adult supervising. Okay, so here you are. I have a skull. Right, make sure the eyes are front. The skull eyes are looking outward, otherwise it's a waste and people won't know what it is. stick that on the base like that. There you are. Look at that. And that will stick there because it's still wet. I might stick another something on there. Something small, like a weapon or something. What have I got? That's it. There you are. Got like a little knife, which is probably 40k, some such thing. I don't even know or care. Again, put it. There's a big area of green stuff there, so stick that there. It doesn't matter if it's hanging over the edge a little bit. In fact, that kind of breaks up the shape of the miniature. However, if you're doing the character bases, the hero bases, you better not have that hanging over the edge because there are the coloured inserts. So only the monsters have these hanging over the edge. Right. Okay, he's done. Next. Right, thank you very much. Let me just stop this and I'll show you a painted version of this. Bye bye. Hello, I'm back. Right, these are the final painted versions of some miniatures that I based, some massive darkness miniatures that I've based. This is I don't know, a low troll or something like that. You see the spare bits of green stuff? I made mushrooms. There's a mushroom. See the sword on the base. A shield. This transfer was from a Space Wolves thing. I never had Space Wolves, but I got the transfers. Okay, so, and you see underneath all that junk on the base, you can see the flagstones. I don't know if you can see that clearly. Right, okay, right, anyway. And here's a hero. Again, lots of junk on the base. Again, some mushrooms. I didn't put mushrooms on all the bases. Only like maybe 30%. I just like the bright colours and stuff like that. Okay, anyway. So here's one without mushroom. He's got a skull on the base. And the flagstones, see they're not straight. Flagstones are definitely not straight. And that is absolutely fine. So what did I do? How did I paint them? Basically, I sprayed them black, primed them black, then painted the entire base with leather brown. This is Vallejo leather brown. So you see even the edge of the base is leather brown. Yeah, I didn't leave it black, I painted it brown. Whole of the base leather brown. Then I used this one, cork brown. Again, Vallejo. I used Vallejo cork brown. And I overbrushed the flagstones, not getting any in the cracks, as in the cracks between the flagstones. So overbrushed it quite roughly. Not really worried about details and stuff like that. That actually is quite a light colour. So after I've done these two, what I did is I did the whole miniature, including the base, the whole miniature and the base all together with Agrax Earthshade wash. Yeah. So as the miniature needed a wash anyway, I did the Earthshade wash and I did the base at the same time, and that toned it down a lot and picked out the details and stuff like that. Then I did a very light dry brush of this one, dark sand, again Vallejo dark sand, and I did that just in areas where there were exposed flagstones, like here, a bit of an exposed flagstone. So where the light is shining down and it gets the exposed bits. It might be a bit difficult to see with this not very good camera and my not very good production value. However, that little bit of detail really makes the bases stand out and look really awesome. So yeah, see that any bits of exposed flagstone, and the dry brush I used was quite large, so I wasn't physically able, which is a good thing, I wasn't physically able to get into the small areas. So I just did very large dry brush and very dry as well, and just did the exposed bits of big large pieces of flagstone, and that really finished off the base and made it look pretty damn good. Like, I'll just show you some more. Look what I did. Woo. They're all roughly the same. Some are lighter than others because, you know, my dry brushing isn't constant. I mean, I am human. I'm not a robot. However, that is fine. It's not noticeably different. It's only different as far as I'm concerned, because I painted them, so I noticed these things. However, I am very happy with these bases. So yeah, start like that, use these, become like this. Awesome. Thank you very much. See ya.